Fiona and Hurricane Dorian were, both of which had widespread impacts in the Maritimes as equivalent to Category 2 hurricanes. There is something to watch out for with this storm system, and that's the fact that it is expected to become larger in size as it moves northwards. And the intensity coming down, but the size increasing. Currently, the strongest of the winds and rain all wrapped up around the center of that hurricane, but you'll notice as it moves northward, it gets larger, sort of the rain and the winds spreading out from the center. So there may still be some fairly widespread impacts in the Maritime region, including widespread risk of seeing some power outages, possibility that areas that see the heaviest of the rain could see some flooding and flash flooding, and some rough coastal conditions. Omar.
All right, Caleb, thanks. A visibly furious Premier of British Columbia promised action today after a man who killed his own daughter went on a stabbing rampage at a festival in Vancouver's Chinatown. CTV's Abigail Turner has more.
A weekend event of performances and music meant to draw people to Vancouver's Chinatown and showcase the neighborhood's resiliency was met with a horrific ending.
I am so angry. I am white hot angry.
Strong words used by the Premier to describe his reaction to 3 people being stabbed Sunday night during the festival. The accused, an inmate released on a day pass from the Colony Farm Forensic Psychiatric Hospital in Coquitlam. 64-year-old Blair Donnelly was found not criminally responsible for killing his 16-year-old daughter in 2006. 3 years later, he stabbed another person while on a day pass.
I cannot fathom how someone who murdered his daughter was released in 2009, went out and stabbed somebody else, somehow able to go out and buy a knife, go to Chinatown and stab 3 people. How is that possible?
EB promised to investigate how Donnelly was granted a day pass.
I just cannot imagine how this happened.
Earlier this year, his government pushed Ottawa to reform Canada's bail system to target repeat offenders after he directed new teams of prosecutors, probation, and police officers to focus on the issue in BC.
Absolutely draws into the question of how people like that receive and get a day pass.
The mayor of Coquitlam hopes people view the situation with empathy.
The stabbings were done by the illness, not by the individual, and that is something that we all have to try to keep in mind.
Donnelly has been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault and remains in custody. There's no update to provide on his victims, a 60-year-old couple and a 20-year-old woman. Abigail Turner, CTV News, Vancouver.
And on the second day of testimony in the trial of a man accused of killing a Muslim family in London, the Crown presented dramatic pieces of evidence. On June 6, 2021, Nathaniel Beltman allegedly drove into the Upsells, then took the truck to a mall parking lot. He approaches a cab driver who testified in court today that he was told to call police.
There's a truck here, and he said he hit somebody. It was me. He said did it. Come arrest me. What's your name? James Beltman. Are you injured? Nope, I did it on purpose.
Within minutes, Beltman gets on his knees and is arrested. The 22-year-old faces terror-related murder charges. We have disturbing new details of glaring lapses by a daycare kitchen in the middle of a massive E. coli outbreak in Calgary. A new report shows food for children was cooked in a kitchen infested with cockroaches. Here's CTV's Alberta Bureau Chief Bill Fortier.
Shut down now for a week. Alberta health officials believe this is ground zero in a growing E. coli outbreak. A caterer that provides food to 11 daycares.
It almost certainly originated from the central kitchen.
A report on the inspection of the facility released today includes critical violations: 2 live cockroaches, at least 20 more in traps. A dispenser for sanitizer wasn't working, and meals were being delivered without equipment for keeping food cold.
It certainly highlights that there were some critical issues.
And to think I walked past those kitchen doors twice a day.
Samantha Brett still isn't sure when or if her kids will go back to Fueling Grains Academy as some of the organization's 8 Calgary locations start to reopen.
We want to have confidence in Fueling Grains that our kids are going to be safe going back, and it seems the reopening is very rushed.
The number of cases has climbed from 56 on September 5th when the outbreak was declared to 264 today. 25 patients are still in hospital. 22 have the serious